Picture this. It's Tuesday, 8:15 p.m. You're driving home from work. The intersection ahead of you, green. As you approach, it turns yellow. You make the split-second decision that trying to stop safely would be more dangerous than continuing through. You cross the line just as the light turns red. And then, flash. You know exactly what that was. 2 weeks later, you open your mailbox and find a $150 notice of liability. Right. No police officer pulled you over. No human being witnessed the event. It's just a machine and a corporate algorithm. Welcome to Broken Shield, the accountability project. Today, we are taking aim at the automated surveillance state, red light and speed cameras. We're going to prove that these systems aren't just annoying. They are a calculated, profitable assault on your constitutional rights. We are going to expose how they flipped the American legal system on its head and why some states have finally said enough. Let's start with the foundation of the entire scam. In America, we share a sacred legal principle. You are innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt by the state. The burden is on them. If a police officer pulls you over for speeding, that is a traffic stop. It is a criminal or quasi-criminal matter. You have distinct rights in that interaction. So, how did the government get around those rights with cameras? They used a legal knee trick. They didn't define camera tickets as criminal charges. They defined them as civil administrative violations. This is the key that unlocks all the revenue. A civil violation isn't handled in a real courtroom. It's handled by a hearings officer, often a municipal employee, not a judge. Look at your camera ticket. It won't say state versus your name. It will say City of Surveillanceville versus vehicle tag XYZ. Because it's a civil matter, the burden of proof is radically lower. The state doesn't have to prove you were driving. They only have to prove that your car was there. And they achieve this by creating a rebuttable presumption. They presume you, the registered owner, were the driver. In that instant, they don't just shift the burden of proof, they reverse it. You're presumed guilty. The entire system pivots. You must now prove you are innocent. Think about what this means. If you let your sibling, your child, or your spouse borrow your car, you are the one presumed to have committed the infraction. And the burden is now on you to find the evidence to prove you weren't there. But wait, the Constitution is supposed to protect us, right? Let's see how these cameras match up against your rights. And why, in a civil setup, the government claims those rights don't apply to you. First, the right to confront your accuser from the Sixth Amendment. The Confrontation Clause says that in criminal cases, you have the right to cross-examine the witnesses testifying against you. But with a camera, who is the witness? A robot? A line of code from a private vendor in another state? When you challenge the ticket, you can't question the machine. You can't ask it, what was the timing of the yellow light? Or when was this camera last calibrated? But the courts have overwhelmingly ruled that because this is a civil fine, the Sixth Amendment's protection doesn't even apply. Case closed, convenience wins. Second, due process under the 14th Amendment. This amendment guarantees fundamental fairness. But these tickets are often generated by private third-party contractors and mailed weeks later. By the time you receive the notice, you cannot possibly gather evidence. You can't find witnesses. You might not even remember why you decided to go through that intersection. That delay is strategically unfair, robbing you of a reasonable chance to defend yourself. And what about your right to privacy under the Fourth Amendment? Isn't the constant tracking of your public movements an unreasonable search and seizure? Here, the courts have been clear and consistent. When you drive on a public road, you are operating in public view. You have knowingly exposed your vehicle's exterior and license plate to the world. Therefore, the Fourth Amendment generally offers you zero protection against being photographed or recorded by the state in public. If these systems are so legally questionable, why are they everywhere? The municipalities will always tell you it's about public safety. Yes, speeding is a real danger. But is that the real reason these cameras are installed? Follow the money. Many of these camera systems are not run by your local police department. They are contracted out to private surveillance companies. And these companies often operate on what we call bounty contracts. The private company installs and maintains the cameras at little to no cost to the city. In exchange, the company gets a percentage of every ticket issued. This creates a terrifying financial incentive. A company that profits per ticket wants to maximize tickets. Multiple studies, including research by groups like the ACLU, have exposed instances where cities that install these cameras mysteriously shortened the yellow light times at those intersections just by a fraction of a second. This minor engineering change turns the intersection into a revenue trap. It traps drivers who have to make a rational, safe decision, but are defeated by a machine optimized for profitable fines. It prioritizes maximizing violations over improving driver behavior. It seems bleak, but here is where we hold the system accountable. The shield is broken, but we can fight back. Several states have looked at the exact constitutional violations we've discussed, the burden shifting, the lack of confrontation, and they have taken a stand. The Missouri Supreme Court, in a landmark 2015 ruling, struck down red light ordinances. Their logic? The ordinances forced a presumption of guilt on the car owner, violating the fundamental right to be presumed innocent. This ruling set a powerful precedent for protecting due process. And then there's Texas. In 2019, the state passed a legislative ban on all red light cameras. Lawmakers used the exact Sixth Amendment argument we discussed. You cannot confront your accuser when your accuser is a machine. As of 2026, states like Mississippi, South Carolina, West Virginia, Montana, and others prohibit automated traffic enforcement. They recognize that the convenience of revenue did not justify the surrender of constitutional rights. Red light and speed cameras represent the system at its most automated and impersonal. They are a convenience fee for the surrendering of fundamental protections. They shift the burden to you. They demand you prove your innocence. They make profit the primary objective. But the fight in Missouri and Texas proves that when we bring this issue to light, we can hold the system accountable. Accountability is the only defense we have. If you believe that the burden of proof belongs on the state and not on you, then subscribe to Broken Shield, the Accountability Project. Share this video. Help us expose the automated trap. Let me know in the comments below. Have you ever fought an automated ticket? How did they make you prove your innocence? Let's keep the system honest.